I'm Dr. Alice Edwards, and I'm here with Tracy Nwanimi for ADHD Out Loud, talking about ADHD and relationships. So this is going to be a Q&A session, and if anybody joins us live and texts in the Zoom chat, any questions, we'll try and address those as well. But otherwise, we're going to be addressing questions that users in the ADHD Out Loud app, which is free and available in the app stores, both Apple and Android, are able to install and download. So other people have posted questions there. So we're going to be sharing some of those questions. Tracy is going to be reading some of those questions out, and then I'll be providing some feedback and opinion on answering some of those questions.
Thank you, Dr. Alice. Okay, next question. I have always hated dating, and I just learned I have ADHD a few months ago. My therapist told me about rejection sensitivity diaspora, and I think maybe that's why I hate dating. But I don't want to be single forever. Has anyone found a workaround?
This is tough. The therapist is right. Probably it may stem from dealing with rejection sensitivity dysphoria. For people who may not know, I briefly mentioned it earlier, but rejection sensitivity dysphoria means that you're extra sensitive to being rejected. And it doesn't just mean that if you're rejected, you feel bad about it. You're so sensitive to the idea of rejection, right, that you may go out of your way to avoid situations in which you may have the potential to be rejected. Right. So if you're a guy and you're supposed to be the one who walks into a bar and says to a girl, hey, can I buy you a drink? Right. The idea of even walking up to a girl and then imagining that she's going to say no or look at you funny or whatever might be so stressful to you that you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to go to the bar. I'm just going to skip it entirely. I don't want to go. I don't want to deal with it. Right. Might not be a typical way that people might think of rejection sensitivity, but like the fact that you're really sensitive to these situations where you might be rejected, because in that situation, you as a person, even if I'm the one who would be saying no to a guy, it's still rejection sensitivity to me because I want people to think I'm a nice person, right? But I may not still want to dance with them, right? So how do I say no while still being perceived as a nice person without them thinking that I'm not a nice person? And one of the other reasons why people struggle with rejection sensitivity dysphoria when they have ADHD is also because we struggle with executive functioning. And when we can't envision the goal exactly, right, it's hard to move forward. So if you're imagining going into the situation, you can't think through logically all the ways it could or couldn't go and how you're going to be okay with all of them, it might make it hard for you to start, right? But in terms of actually moving forward, part one is you have to acknowledge that this is something that you're going to struggle with, right? Because you can't really work through it if you're like I was when I was 21, avoiding it entirely by putting on a fake wedding ring and hiding from the situation, right?